We begin the Gemara today on Daf Yud at the Mishnah. Look, the Heilige Mishnah. Omar, a person says, or Omra Parazul, this cow said. That's what it sounds like when you read the Mishnah. The Gemara is going to address it right away, but let's just read and translate what the Mishnah here says. That this cow says, Hareini Nazira, I will be a Nazira, im oimedesani, if I can get up. That's one example. So the cow is talking. That's what it looks like when you read the Mishnah. Or a door is talking. The door is saying, Hareini Nazira, I'll be a Nazir im niftachani. If I can get this door, if I can open up. Beishamai Yomrim, so Beishamai say Nazir. He'll become a Nazir. Beisilo Yomrim ain't a Nazir. Beisilo says he does not become a Nazir. Rabbi Yehuda says about this, and this is similar to what we learned in the previous Mishnah, that Beishamai is not going to say he becomes a Nazir in this case. With such a kind of expression, even Beishamai agrees he's not a Nazir. When Beishamai says that his words take effect, Lo Yomrim or Lo Yomru, he didn't say this, Ella ba'omer harei parazu alai karbon imay medesi. When he's saying to himself, not a lashon of nazirus, but he's saying that this cow should be asa to me like a carbon if it gets up. He makes that condition, if it gets up, it should be asa to me like a carbon. So in such a case, Beishamai is saying that it'll be a neder. But Beishamai agrees that in the lashon that was mentioned before, he will not become a nazir. Okay, so the Mishnah obviously needs to be explained. What does this mean that the cow is saying this? Obviously, the cow is not talking. So, the Gemara, Parek mikam mishtoi. Is this cow talking? And it's saying that it will be a nazir. What is this supposed to mean? So, Rami Bacham explains, what is this Mishnah speaking about? Kagoin, shahoisa, para, revut salafanav. Person has this cow that's lying there in front of him, and it doesn't want to move. The cow it's licked. What do you do now? So the person standing there, he says to himself that kisvura parazu. So when you read the Mishnah, it says in the Mishnah, Omar, this person says, he's saying to himself in his imagination what the cow is saying to himself. He said, the owner of the cow wants to get the cow to move and it doesn't want to move. So kisvura parazu einai medes. This cow thinks that it's not going to get up. Hareini nazim ipsara. I will accept upon myself to be a Nazir from its meat, im amda, if it will get up. And then, im amda me'eleh, that is, if it gets up on its own. If it's going to move and get up on its own, I will accept upon myself to be a Nazir. And v'amda me'eleh, and the cow did end up getting up on its own. So now, this kind of a lashon. So the thing is, with this lashon that he said he's going to be a Nazir mipsara. He didn't say the proper Nazirus. What's Nazirus? Nazirus is not to drink wine. But he says, if this cow gets up, I'll be a Nazir from its basar. I won't eat from this basar. I won't shechter and eat from it. Okay? So now, saying a lashon of Nazirus from the basar of the cow, is that a Nazirus or not? So says the Gemara, v'holchu b'shamai l'shitasan u'b'sil l'shitasan. The argument here between b'shamai and b'sil, whether this expression will be Nazirus or not, is going to according to their opinion that we already learned before in the previous Mishnah. If you remember in the previous Mishnah we learned a case where a person says, I'll be a Nazir not to eat from dry figs or pressed figs. So over there was the same machlokes whether he's a Nazir or not. Beishamai that said in the previous Mishnah, a person says, I'm going to be a Nazir not to eat gregeris or dvela. He becomes a Nazir. Sahachanami here as well. He also becomes a Nazir. Ki ama mipsara have a Nazir. When he says that he's not going to eat from the meat of this cow, he also becomes a Nazir. Even though he said meat, but because he said the term Nazir, he becomes a Nazir. If you remember, the Gemara explained before that according to Beishamai, the moment he said Hareini Nazir, he becomes a Nazir. Afterwards, when he mentions figs, or in this case, when he mentions basar, he's trying to have charata from his Naziris. He wants to be matter that neder of Naziris, but he can't. It's too late. Beisilo loimrim, Beisilo say, lo yav a Nazir. Beisilo say, it does not become a Nazir because he said it not in the proper way, incorrect expression, so it's not a Naziris b'chlal. So it's basically similar machlokes to what we learned before. But if that's the case, so Beishamai already said their opinion, Beisil already said their opinion before, why is the Mishnah repeating the same thing again? So Rava says, Tarti Tlas, this halacha that Beishamai is teaching here is being taught twice, or actually 3 times, because it's taught before regarding the figs. It's taught before, over here that is, when a person says that I'll be a Nazir if this cow gets up not to eat from its basar. And then the next case of the Mishnah is actually the same pshat. A person had a door and the door refused to open. So the person says to himself, the door is saying to himself that he's not going to open up. But if this door will open up on its own, so then I will be a Nazir. I will be a Nazir. I will not have a no from this door. You see that's what he said. Similar to the case of the Mishnah, that he said he won't have a no from the basar of the cow. So too he said the same thing regarding the door. So that's a third case. And the Gemara continues, V'chein tani Rab Chiya tarti tlas. Rab Chiya, in the Brais of Rab Chiya, he also taught this halacha of Beishamai Mesil twice and 3 times. V'chein Amar Rab Aishia tarti tlas. Rab Aishia also taught this halacha twice and 3 times. Utzrichi. And it's halacha that's being taught 3 times, it all needs to be taught. There's a chiddush in each case. And the Gemara explains, if we just say the first case, that he accepted upon himself Nazirus, and then he added and said, from dry figs. There, Beishamai said that he will be a Nazir, because maybe the reason is, I would say, mishum de michlafan ba novim. It's possible that a person makes a mistake when he speaks. Instead of saying grapes or wine, he by mistake says figs. So it's just a slip of the tongue. He made a mistake. The fact that he's saying Hareni Nazir b'greigeris, you know why Beishamai held that he's a Nazir? Not because once he said Hareni Nazir, he can't retract it anymore. And therefore when he says greigeris, it's too late to retract it. The reason is because the devela, the greigeris, it's a slip of the tongue. It's possible that a person makes such a kind of mistake. Ava basar ba novim loy mechlaf. But to make a mistake between meat and wine, a person wouldn't have such a slip of the tongue. So in such a case, maybe Beishamai would say that he would not become a Nazir. Now, if would say the first case in our Mishnah, that the person said that I'm going to be a Nazir not to eat from the meat of this animal, so then I could also say that there is also a svara here that a person could slip and make a mistake between yayin and basar. What's the reason? Hachud Amir Beishamai, have a Nazir. Here Beishamai would say that he's a Nazir because bebisra v'chamra, because wine and meat are the 2 main things when a person has a meal, a festive meal, so you eat meat and you drink wine. So those are 2 things that go together, and it's possible that a person should confuse them. But maybe I would say, going back to the previous case of Greigeris and Dveila, figs and wine are not eaten together in a meal, so a person would not slip when he says them. So Kamash Malan, so therefore it has to say both of these cases. There's a svara by each one of them, why I would think that the person would not make a mistake to confuse them. Now, if it would only say these 2 cases, so then I would say, it's these 2 cases that Beishamai says that he becomes a Nazir, because by both of them, there's reason to believe that the person slipped in the expression he said, and he really means to be a full Nazir. But if a person is saying that I'm going to be a Nazir, and what is this Nazirus? He says he's not going to have enough from this door. Instead of talking about wine, he's talking about a door. So, in such a case, for sure, you would say that Beishamai agrees to Beis Hillel. Because over here, you can't say a person is confusing a door with a wine. There's absolutely no association between these 2 things. So in other words, the fact when Beishamai says that even when he says a door, he's not going to have enough from the door, he still becomes a Nazir, here you really see what Beishamai's opinion is. The reason why Beishamai says he becomes a Nazir is not because we understand what the person said as a slip of the tongue and he meant to say I'm going to be a Nazir of wine, even though it was not a slip. And he said he's not going to have a no from the door. The way we understand what he said is, first he said I want to be a Nazir. Then he had a charata and he wanted to be matter that by saying, only not to have a no from this door, but it's too late. He can't have charata anymore. If we would only say this case that the person said that I'll be a Nazir and then he said I want to have a no from this door, then I would say over here in this case Beis Hillel said that he will not become a Nazir because there's no connection between a door and the Nazirus. By the other 2 cases of the Dveila, of figs or of basar, of meat, maybe there agrees to Beishamai, maybe over there I'll say that Beis Hillel agrees to this idea that it's possible that a person slipped in the expression he said, and therefore he does become a Nazir. Kamash Malan Deloy. So that's why the Mishnah is saying that Beis Hillel argues even there, we don't consider it to be a slip of the tongue, and therefore the expression of Nazirus that he says does not take effect.
What about Beis Shammai in the 3rd case?
Yeah.
He skips to the Beis Hillel by 2 against 1. He doesn't say Beis Shammai when it's...
Because there's no other chiddush over there. If it would only say that case, if it would only say the case of Deles, so then according to Beis Shammai, the other 2 cases of basar and dveila would be self-understood. So mitzad Beis Shammai's opinion, it would be enough just to say the 3rd case. The only chiddush over there is only for the opinion of Beis Hillel. Okay, so this is the pshat of Rami Bar Chama in this Mishnah here. So again, the point is that the person is making accepting upon himself Nazirus. And what is he saying? If this cow that's lying here and it doesn't want to get up on its own, me'eleha, doesn't want to get up. If it gets up on its own, I accept upon myself Nazirus from its basar. And that's the machlokes of Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel if this Nazirus will take effect. Amar Rav, so Rav asks him this. Mi katani im amda me'elah. Does it say this detail in the Mishnah that the person is saying regarding his cow that's lying in front of him that if it's going to get up on its own, then I accept upon myself Naziris from this cow? It doesn't say in the Mishnah amda me'elah that it gets up on its own. Right? The truth that it doesn't say in the Mishnah basar, but that I guess the Gemara considers it to be understood from what he's saying, because he's speaking about the cow, that the cow is saying that it doesn't want to get up. So the person is saying, if it gets up on its own, I won't shecht it, I won't have anah from it, I won't eat from it. That's what it sounds like he's saying. But the amda me'ileh, that it doesn't say in the Mishnah.
So why can't you just let it plain?
That what?
If the cow gets up.
Let's see. Okay. No, let's see what the Gemara says here. Elo marave, so Rava says, Kagoin shoisa para revutza lefonav. The cow was lying in front of him. And va'amar, what this person says, Harei alai carbon. That this cow here that doesn't want to move, the cow says to itself, I'm not going anywhere. But if this cow is going to get up, so then this cow itself will become a carbon that's brought by the conclusion of the Nazirus. Now the Rishonim explain, even though a para is not a behemoth that's brought as the carbon at the end of Naziris. There's other behemoths that are brought, but at the end of the Naziris, a person many times brings also other karbanis as a neder or as an adove together with the karbanis of the Naziris. So what the person is saying is, this cow that doesn't want to move, if it gets up, and not meileh necessarily, if it gets up, whether I can get it up or anyone else can get it up, so then this cow will become a carbon of Naziris. Okay, so the person did not say that he's not going to have a gnaw from the basar of this cow. That's also something that it's not merumas in the Mishnah. He didn't say he's not going to have a gnaw from the basar. And he didn't say if this cow gets up on his own. He's saying if this cow will get up in any way, it will become a carbon for Naziris. And so Beis Shammai is saying that's a lashon of Naziris. Because you said it's going to become a carbon of Naziris, that basically means the person wants to accept upon himself Naziris. Beis Hillel says, no, you can't consider that to be that he accepted upon himself Naziris. He didn't say, I'm accepting upon myself Naziris. Saying that you're going to bring this cow as a carbon at the conclusion of Naziris is not clear enough that you're accepting upon yourself Naziris. So according to this pshat of Rava, this machlokes of Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel is not related to the previous Mishnah. It's a different machlokes. So the Gemara asks, okay, now bishloi mepara. This pshat is a good pshat for the first case of the Mishnah. So bas karbani, you can say that that's what the person was saying. That this cow that doesn't want to get up, if it gets up, I'll take it and bring it as a carbon for the Naziris. Elo deles, but applying the same shot for the next case regarding the door that doesn't want to open. Bas karbani, what's the person saying? If this door swings open, if someone manages to open this door, then it's going to become a carbon for Naziris. It has no connection to a carbon of Naziris. So you can't apply this pshat for the next case of the Mishnah. So Elo marave, so Rava says a third pshat. Here the Gemara is going to continue a few pshat in there. So Rava says, Kagoin shahisa para ravutza lefana. This cow was lying there in front of him. And V'amar, and the person says, Hareini Nazir miyayin. He actually used the proper lashon of Naziris. I'm going to be a Nazir, not to drink any wine. And what did he say? Im lo yamda. If this cow will not get up, so then I'll become a Nazir. What's the person trying to say by this? Okay, we'll see in a moment. The Gemara is going to explain what's the person trying to say. And the person really is trying to prove that I can get this cow moving. If the cow is not going to move, so then I accept upon myself Naziris from wine, proper Naziris. Now, what happened with this cow? The cow got up on its own. The person himself did not manage to lift up this cow, but it got up on its own. So now the question is, he accepted upon himself Naziris, but only with a condition. A condition if it does not get up. Now it got up on its own. Was his condition fulfilled? Seemingly not, because he only accepted upon himself Naziris if the cow does not get up. And it did get up. So the Gemara says, here's the machlokes of Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel, whether we can say the condition is fulfilled. Beis Shammai savri, Beis Shammai hold and understand the way this person is saying this. Turfei dahai gavre. The word turfei means the revelation of a matter. So over here, Torfe means the real intention of this individual by making this condition is as follows. Mishum oikmei biyadehu. What he's trying to prove is, I'm strong enough that I can lift up this cow with my hands. And therefore he's saying, if I will not manage to lift up the cow with my hands, I'll become a Nazir. Right? Now what happened here? He never lifted up the cow. So even though it got up on its own, but he didn't lift up the cow. So therefore it's a fulfillment of his condition, and he becomes a Nazir. But Beis Hillel's opinion is, and the Bachir adds, puts in the same words that the Gemara said before, Torfei, the high Gavra, the real intention of this person is, Mishum de Reviyahu, because the cow is lying, and he's saying that this cow is not going to remain lying here. You'll see, it's going to get up, it's going to walk, it's eventually going to go. That's what he was referring to. He wasn't trying to show that I have the power to lift up this cow. And v'hakamas, so it got up. If it got up, so then the condition of his Naziris was not fulfilled. It did go. So that's the argument. It's basically all the argument about understanding this condition. The meaning of this condition, right? But according to this pshat of Rava, as far as the actual Naziris itself is concerned, he took upon himself a proper Naziris with the proper lashon. He said, Hareni Nazir Miyayin. If that's the case, he took upon himself a proper lashon of Naziris. What does it say in the next part of the Mishnah? Rabbi Yehuda said, when Beis Shammai here said in this case that he'll become a Nazir, but they didn't say he'll become a Nazir. All Beis Shammai said was, carbon para. He says, the Bachir changed a little bit the girsa, Harei parazu alai carbon. The person says that this cow will be asa to me like a carbon, and then the neder takes effect that it becomes asa to him, but he will not become a nazir. But the question is, mika matfis ba midi? Is this person in any way making a condition in connection to this cow that the cow should become aser? According to the pshat that we just said, he's taking upon himself a regular naziris from wine. The cow is just a condition. If the cow will get up, if it'll get up through me, it'll get up on its own. So the whole subject of the cow is stomach condition. He's not making any neder in connection to the cow itself. So what's wrong with this naziris? Why is Rabbi Yehuda saying over here that according to Beis Shammai he would not become a nazir? So we can't say this pshat of Rava that the case of the Mishnah is that he took upon himself a regular naziris. So Ella, the Gemara says another pshat, and this is the final pshat here, I believe, in the Gemara. Going back to the point we said before, that he made a naziris that he's not going to have hana from the basar, which is not the correct lashon of naziris. And also he said, im loy amda, if this cow will not get up. And now the cow got up on its own. This person himself did not lift it up, but the cow just got up on its own. So we have over here two different things to deal with. Number one, the lashon of naziris that he says is incorrect. He says nazir from basar. And number two, we have over here this condition, he said, if it's going to get up. And the question is, what's the meaning of this condition? Beis Shammai say, Torfei dahu gavre, the real intention of what this person said was, Mishum ukme biyadehu. He was saying that if I manage to lift up this cow, then I will become a nazir. Then I will not be a nazir. Only if it will not get up, then he'll be a nazir. That was his condition. So he did not lift up the cow. So therefore he becomes a nazir. Right? So basically you have over here two different chidushim in what Beis Shammai was saying. Number one, Beis Shammai was saying that even though he used the term that I'll be a nazir from basar, he still becomes a nazir, because once he said nazir, that means he's a nazir. And number two, the way we understand his condition is that even though he just said if it gets up, but he meant I will lift it up. He wanted to show his power, and therefore if he did not lift it up, even though it got up on its own, he becomes a nazir. Beis Hillel Savri and Beis Hillel say that Torfei, the high Gavre, that no, the main intention of this person is Mishum de Revia, because the cow is lying, and he wants to show that it's not going to lie here forever, it's going to get up eventually. And V'hakamis, it got up, so therefore the condition of his Naziris was not fulfilled, and he does not become a Nazir. So basically the Gemara is saying the point that Beis Hillel is arguing on Beis Shammai is regarding the interpretation of the condition that he said, similar to what we said before. What are we saying here? That Beis Hillel is only arguing on this detail how to understand the condition. But Beis Hillel Savri, can you say that Beis Hillel holds that Eloi Kamas, if the cow would have not gotten up, and then for sure the condition was fulfilled. His condition was, if the cow does not get up, I become a Nazir. So are you going to say that according to Beis Hillel, if the cow did not get up at all, have a Nazir, that even Beis Hillel would agree he becomes a Nazir? How could you say that? For ha'amri mipsara lo have a Nazir. The way he accepted upon himself the Nazirus was not the correct lashon. He said, I'll be a Nazir from its basar. According to Beis Hillel, he should not become a Nazir for a different reason, not only because of the condition not being fulfilled. He should not be a Nazir because the actual lashon of the Nazirus itself was incorrect. Right? So the Gemara understands, I mean, theoretically, you would be able to say that maybe that's taka the pshat in the Mishnah. The Mishnah says, Beis Hillel ain't a Nazir. So it says he's not a Nazir. Maybe taka, this is the reason, because the lashon of his Nazirus itself was incorrect. But the Gemara understands that because the Mishnah brings up this case with the person saying, I'm going to be a Nazir from Basar, and it adds this condition about the cow getting up or not, it must be that Beis Hillel's machlekes is regarding this condition as well. If the machlekes between Beis Hillel and Beis Shammai was just about the lashon of the neder itself that he said, that I'm going to be a Nazir from Basar, and the condition is irrelevant to this machlekes of Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel, why is the Mishnah bringing up this Indian of the machlekes here, B'chlal? The Indian of this condition, that is, B'chlal, this condition, how we understand this condition. Elamai must be that Beis Hillel is arguing regarding how we interpret this condition. So therefore the Gemara asks, but why are we saying that they're arguing about the condition? The condition is irrelevant because he said a lashon of a Naziris, which is incorrect. He said he's going to be a Nazir from the Basar. So then either way, the yek condition, no condition, the lashon of the Naziris is incorrect. Okay, so the Gemara answers, you're right, Beis Hillel taka argue on Beis Shammai for both reasons. And l'tamayu, the Beis Shammai kamri. What Beis Hillel is saying to Beis Shammai is that even you, according to your reasoning, you should agree to me, to Beis Hillel. Lididan, what Beis Hillel is saying is as follows. According to our opinion, afilu loy kamas, even if this cow did not get up, and the condition was fulfilled, afilu loy kamas nami, so even in that case, lo yav a Nazir. You're not going to become a Nazir. Why? Because you said Nazir from Basar. Nazir from Basar is not a good lashon of Naziris. Lidit chudam riso have a Nazir, but you say that this expression of Naziros is an acceptable expression of Naziris. He will become a Nazir, but in this case, with this kind of a condition, aidulan miyas, you should agree to us, the torfe, the hadein gavre, that the real intention of this person with this condition is mishum deriviyah, because the cow is lying, and he says that as long as it's lying, I'll be a Nazir. And v'hak kamas, and the cow got up. So if the cow got up, then the condition was not fulfilled, and therefore he should not be a Nazir. Otherwise, like I said, Beis Hillel is arguing Beis Shammai with both points. Number one, there's a problem with the lashon of the Naziris itself, but Beis Hillel is saying to Beis Shammai, even according to you, that there's no problem with the Naziris itself, but at least the condition over here in this case was not fulfilled because the cow got up. But like the Gemara said before, Beis Shammai say, no, that's not the way we understand this condition. Lav turfe dahai gavre mishum oikme biyadehu. The condition of this person, the real intention of this person is not that he, again, Beis Shammai yomri lav. This is the way you read it. Beis Shammai say no, because torfe dahai gavre mishum ukme biyadehu. The main intention of this person is that he is going to lift up the cow. And v'hala yukmeh, he didn't lift up the cow, got up on its own. So therefore, his condition of the Naziris was fulfilled, and he becomes a Nazir. So we have two different arguments here between Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel. That's the pshat in the Mishnah.